Hey, John with Mold Removal Center here, www.moldremovalcenter.com. Today we're going to be looking at basement mold remediation. So what's going on in the basement? Well, if you're like most people, your basement's a pretty good environment for mold to be growing. It's got paper, wood, fabric, and other organic snacks that mold loves. It's also dark. It's usually kind of damp and kind of musty. Normally got pretty lousy ventilation, not a lot of air moving through there. Finally, many basements have already had some flooding, possible leaks or cracks in uninsulated pipes. Put all these things together, you got a recipe for some mold. So where do you begin if you notice that smell already? If you pretty sure you've got mold somewhere going on in the basement, and you know you want to do something before the mold spreads and starts to affect your family's health, you're going to need a basement mold remediation plan. But where do you begin? Well, that's what this is all about. So first you look at inspection and testing. So mold's going to be found on anything that was organic, porous and non-porous alike. You're going to want to inspect any and all materials that might be harboring the mold, and that includes any boxes full of paper, any carpeting, any furniture, even insulation and drywall are places where mold can live. Mold can be many different kinds of colors and many different types of consistencies. So just be on the lookout even if it doesn't quite fit your stereotype of what mold should look like. You might want to consider purchasing a home mold testing kit, which normally can be found at any corner hardware store. And this will help you identify the types and locations and the density of the mold before you take the next step. And before you do anything, before you begin to look for the mold and move your stuff around to find it, put on some protective gear. Get a mask to cover your mouth and some gloves to cover your hands. Careful inspection is definitely the key. Now, while you're doing it, try not to disturb the mold because it'll knock the spores loose and then they could spread to other areas. If you notice any water stains or dampness anywhere, you're going to want to get those fixed. Find the cause and get them fixed. Moisture is the key contributor to a mold problem. If you do discover mold and you find that it covers an area larger than about 3 feet by 3 feet, you should really consider contacting a professional mold removal company because an infestation that large typically is just the tip of the iceberg. All right, so basement mold remediation. Here's the plan. You want to control the spread of mold during the cleaning process. You want to kill the mold safely. You want to remove the dead mold. And you want to protect your basement and your home from future mold infestations. So how do you control the spread of mold while you're cleaning it up? Well, basically you confine the work area to prevent the mold spores from migrating to areas where there wasn't mold. Use plastic sheeting to create a floor-to-ceiling, wall-to-wall clean room effect. Keep those spores in the work area. If possible, use a HEPA filter. Filter that air. Or use an exhaust fan that just blows the air straight outside via an open window. Step up the personal protection gear, definitely. You're using a respirator mask and goggles. You might even want to throw on some painter's coveralls. And when you're tearing everything out, bag it. Put anything that's unsalvageable into a plastic bag and get those out and throw them away. Okay? If you find any items that you think you might be able to salvage, you can bag them, but then take them outside, scrub them with TSP or borax, and let them dry in the sunshine. Now, killing the mold. Once you've done that, you're going to want to kill all the surface mold in your basement by spraying 1 or 2 treatments of an effective organic mold cleaner. You can get those online or at your local hardware store. Now, remove any furniture or large objects or anything you're storing in there from the basement for the first spraying so that they don't prevent the chemicals from really treating the walls 100%. But bring them back in so that when you spray the second time, they'll get the benefit of the mold-killing substances. All right, now, remove the dead mold. Once everything's dry and all the visible surface mold is dead, you clean every surface thoroughly because even those dead mold colonies, those dead mold spores can cause allergic reactions. Again, use a HEPA filter in your vacuum during cleanup and run it over everything at least twice. And scrub and clean all the surfaces with TSP or borax and warm water. Huge. Don't forget to dry all those surfaces. Don't give mold a chance to find a new foothold. We all know moisture is the main red carpet for mold. So get everything super dry. Finally, everything you used for this project, bag it and get rid of it in an outdoor trash can. So protect it. Once you've got this mold-free basement, what are you going to do? Well, you take down those plastic walls and you throw them in an outdoor trash can. You use a good protective fungicidal coating on all the clean surfaces before you replace any insulation or drywall. That is, if you had to pull the wall apart. Or the carpet to protect the materials against future mold growth. And here we go again. Eliminate any sources of moisture and install a dehumidifier if necessary. Can't stress that enough. Here's the final test. If your basement is mold free, you should no longer smell or see mold anywhere. Even those water stains should be gone. If you used a home mold sampling kit before, use one again. You know, even if you didn't use one before, you should do it now just to make sure it's completely gone. If you are mold free, great. Rebuild, repair, and repopulate your basement with all those mold free treasures. Now, if you're still in need of a basement mold remediation plan, repeat these steps. And if you can't get rid of it yourself, again, reach out to a professional mold remediation company so that you make sure your home is safe and your mold is completely eradicated. If you've got any other questions about mold removal, please check out our site. We've got information for mold removal in every room of the house, every possible way you'd want to get rid of mold. We cover it. Come to us anytime you want to be mold free.